Chapter 1, we're all gonna die. Lauren London was the first person on my brain when I thought about having this podcast because of a couple of reasons. Number one, I think she's super dope. I think you're super dope. And also, I think there's a lot to learn from you. Are you weirded out by talking and doing interviews and sharing just what your life has been like?
Not to you. And I guess I'm kind of like learning how to do that in this new space because I'm learning so much about myself now and I've changed so much. So like, talking from this space, it's new. So different? I'm not talking a lot.
You haven't done a lot at all.
No.
Yeah, I don't blame you.
Honestly, in talking to people, I just want to be intentional and I want it to be a safe space because then what am I saying for real? Yeah,
and there's so many not safe spaces now because everybody's talking. There's a podcast everywhere, there's an interview show, there's a radio show everywhere, and people are competing, so they tend to...
Clickbait.
Yeah, they want clickbait and just what the intentions are. Like, the intentions are not always that. That would feel like I want to be sensitive to you. But then I thought to myself, is that like annoying to her that everyone would want to treat you with kid gloves or be sensitive or treat you differently? Like, that has to be a big thing in the past couple of years that
it's been a big thing. I really am grateful for it when it's genuine. I don't really like when it's pity. I feel when it's pity. I feel when it's like, I couldn't imagine going through that. Like that, no one ever wants to feel like their particular situation is like the worst thing anyone else could imagine, because then it makes you feel so isolated in your human experience. Yeah. You kind of want to feel like sensitive with me. Yeah. Yeah. So I guess it's like it depends on the person and their intention. We don't have death etiquette.
There is no death etiquette.
Humans do not know how to, we just don't know because it's like the most foreign concept to us, but the most common.
And it's inevitable for every single person.
You're going to die. Yes. That's what's going to happen. Yeah. There's no way out of here. Yeah. I'm going to have a funeral. And the thought of it feels like a fantasy, but it's real. You know what I mean? But I just don't think that we know how to die or accept death, and then we don't know how to usher people in that transition either.
Yeah.
I think that that part right there was really, it depends on the person and their intention, because everyone doesn't have your best intentions at heart. And I'm going to be stopping and saying a lot of different things throughout this video. This is just coming from a very passionate place of mine, and when I saw, like, oh wow, so I've never seen the interview. I just wanted to get my most genuine reaction. I just have a lot of things going through my mind right now, but it's interesting, right? I was going to say this, I want to move on, I want to press play. Having friends that knew you before you were married, and then having friends that only knew you while you were married, it comes from two different spaces. And then making friends that met you after you lost your spouse, there are three totally different perspectives. Totally different perspectives. The one that's more sensitive, I think, is the one that friends that you made while married, and they only knew you and the only part of you when you were married to your spouse, and the part of you that they're getting to know when you're not married, especially if you were friends as couples, like they had their husband and you had your husband, you guys were always together and hanging out or things like that. It's just so different. It's so different. I don't want to say it's strained. It's just different. And in some instances, depending on the person, it could be a little awkward. So I'm going to press play and continue on.
What can you teach people about that, have experience with the experience that you had? Like, what was there anything that comes to mind that you're like, hey, maybe try this?
I think just sitting with someone, I felt like the people that came to just like be with me, and sometimes I think just holding space. It's hard for us because when your friend or someone you love is going through something, you naturally want to fix it. And this is not something to fix. It's something to go through with someone. So you just roll with them. You sit with them. You hold space for them. You hug them. You feed them. You don't maybe not try to say something that will make them feel better, because it's really nothing that'll make them feel better.
Hold the space for them. I can't express that. I can't express that enough. I know she can't. Hold the space for them. Don't try to make me feel better, because you may say something, which I've had people do, that was super offensive. Don't, in the most genuine way, don't say shit to me that you think is going to make me feel better, because you're not going through what I'm going through. Just hold the space. And so for me, I will play songs that me and my husband turn up to. I'll play songs that me and my husband slow dance to. I play songs that he and I would had our discussions about, or like when we would have like long drawn out conversations, what was playing in the background. I mean, it's just so many things that's going through my mind, and then I will express that and share that with whoever's around me. But please don't try to say something you think is gonna make me feel better. That's just really for me to do. You just hold the space. I would tell anybody. She said it best. Hold the space.
And it's not really on you to do.
No,
yeah, right. Don't
it's not
that.
On you. Just hold the space for them. Yeah. You know what I mean? And just be there. That really helped me a lot too.
It's, one of the reasons I felt like, when we spoke briefly about this about a couple of years ago, I had a car accident and I had some loss in my family, and it shifted how I look at life. And I thought, before that year, I thought I knew everything. I'm spiritual.
Girl, I done read every book and can tell you all the books.
Right, but so when I got rocked like that, it made me realize, you don't know everything, and you're actually doing some things wrong, and you're going to be uncomfortable while you're trying to figure out how to fix it. And so I think I fixed a lot of things, and I think sometimes it takes trauma or it takes tragedy to shift you that way. Yeah. And that's one of the reasons I thought about this podcast. But the truth is, why do we wait till somebody dies to think, I got to live every day?
Yeah.
Life is short. That's time is. We should be reminded of that all the time.
Before my husband passed away, the closest thing that passed away to me was my son, our son. And before him, my nephew. And that happened, all of that happened actually within like a 5-year period, if I could be, honest. Before then, I didn't really experience death like that. I experienced like a brother-in-law when I was younger, and he was real cool, and I loved his spirit, his energy, but close to me, my nephew, then having my son and him dying at 1 month old, and that tore me up, especially knowing like, oh man, if I would have done this. I'm not gonna get to that right now, but let's get back to the video.
Because
I think the pain, I think we have fear of people dying, so we don't want to face it yet until it's in our face. So to already have to, you don't.
But whether
really
you have fear or
know.
not, it's going to happen.
Yeah, but you don't know till it's at your front door. I always say the front row at the funeral is different. When you have to sit on, I've been at a lot of funerals.
I bet.
I've never sat front row at one. That's different.
What does that do to you?
Shift your perspective on life. You know what I mean? Make you see not only that is life short, but that it's a gift, and because everyone's time is so different, what am I doing with this gift? Like, oh man, I need to accept all of it, even the ugly, because it is really a gift, this experience. It's a karmic experience. And that's another thing I used to hear about and not know nothing about it. One of the greatest things I've learned that I'm still learning is that food really helps with depression.
Really?
Yeah, because I'm an emotional eater, so my weight fluctuates. So I get sad and want to eat a Twix or pizza and stuff like that. But it would make me more depressed.
It's so funny that Twix is your
I love Twix.
your go-to.
But then I learned that when I ate higher vibrational foods, I wasn't so down. I wasn't so deep in my depression. So that's one of the things that I'm still trying to apply.
It's interesting. I don't believe I'm an emotional eater, but I do remember not wanting to eat at all. If one of the sisters in my church didn't force me to eat, I wouldn't have eaten. I mean, if she had to put it to my mouth, like I'm gonna put it in there, you know. I didn't want to eat. I didn't want to eat. And what's sad is that I had just given birth to my husband and I's 8th baby, and I was breastfeeding. So I needed to eat, but I didn't want to. And this is when my husband was in a coma. I didn't want to eat. I just didn't want to eat.
And just that, like, healing is such a up and down experience. Like, it's not just like, shoo, and then I'm gonna become a fairy godmother and fly away.
Right.
Like,
I'm healed. I'm fine.
No.
And then forever you're healed and fine.
No, I don't know if that's for anyone.
Yeah.
You know, I've just learned that it does go up and down, and sometimes the shadow work is like that. To me, shadow work is really...
What is that?
So it's just like digging deep into your ego self and why you either have envy or why you have feeling to compare yourself to others, or why do you feel depression. So digging into that shadow work, that dark side of your other self, that's hard to face, right?
Yeah.
Because and then I was really big on judgment. Like, I could look like, they don't need to that. Yeah. And then
when you think you have it all together, you're very quick to be like,
I
would never do that.
I was so good, like, I would never. I'm not judging a soul no more, because
Really?
I just realized in my shadow work that my judgment of them was my judgment of myself. It was just really my harsh judgment on myself.
I had to say something.
I didn't give myself no slack.
With that, from my experience, I'm recently married to a really good friend of mine. He was also a really good friend to my husband. They were like brothers. The three of us went to high school together. So I remember 2020 running across this a widow's page, and she had gotten remarried, but she had got remarried to her husband's best friend. And I remember being judgy, like, "Oh, girl, like, girl, what we doing?" I wasn't in that space. I was like, I'm never getting married again. I had my forever. I had an amazing husband. We had all these beautiful children. I'm good. So I really was super judgy. I can say that. And I fast forward, my brother-in-law was like, tell me, yo, sis, so-and-so's out there, and he wanted to hit your number to check on you and the children. And which he did. He was very genuine, very genuine. Always have been. Know him for years, for 25 years. Always have been. And so we were talking and laughing like old times, like just really laughing, and talking about my husband, how funny he was, just having a good time. I'm like, let's get together, and we're cracking up until one of my baby's birthdays was coming up, like, well, just come through, come see nieces and nephews and whatnot, and it was really cool. And we was having fun, and what I mean by just talking. I needed somebody who knew me and knew him, but knew us separately to just chop it up with. You get what I'm saying? But because my friends that I had were my friends, and his friends that he had were his friends. But then this particular friend was our friend. He was my friend and he was his friend. So he knew us separately, and then he knew us together. But he knew us together, but not really. But I say from a distance, because when my husband and I had gotten married, I was living over in another state. He wasn't really around like that. And then my husband was also, in another state. And so, and then when we had gotten married, and I came back from that state because I was performing in that other state and had a lot of show dates. When I came back, we moved to Atlanta. And then from Atlanta, my husband and I, we moved with the children to Cairo. So he knew the idea of us in our marriage, like our pictures and what he, heard or people would say, but he never was around us married. He still knew us as, yo, that's Celeste, yo, that's Twine. You know what I mean? And, so that was just really interesting. And I just I got not a premonition, but I'm the kind of person, if I feel something for somebody and it's genuine, I'm gonna let you know about it. And so I let him know. It was a trip. I was like, yo, I'm catching feelings for him. It's weird. And it's not this whole thing of, oh, you're already married, you're trying to replace your husband. I would never, that's never even a thought. You know what I mean? I would not there's no replacing my husband. There's not, oh, were you used to being married? Because somebody told me, oh, is it because you used to be married that you just want to be married again? I was like, nah, like, what? That's crazy. Like, I'm just one of the type of people, like, yes, life is short. And I've always felt like that. And I'm expressive. Yo, dang, I'm digging you. Oh, wow, this is crazy. These are my feelings. And I told him, listen to him. Whether he was like, I'm feeling you too, or he was like, nah, I'm not gonna touch that. You know what I'm saying? And at first he kind of was like, whoa, like, I do feel something there, so, naturally we just let it explore itself. We let it take shape or take form. And it blossomed into something beautiful. It blossomed into something very beautiful. We have our son, and we're married, but I don't know. It's something I'm just thinking about, about being judgy. It's like, oh, snap. That's what that looks like. And I think back to that moment, like, I was super judgy, like judging that woman. And she, the Father blessed her with something so beautiful because he blessed me with something so beautiful. And some people may have their disagreements and may be judgy on me. I really don't care. I'm happy. That part of me that's sad is still there. It always will be. I love my husband, my late husband. I love him forever. But it was till death do us part. And he parted and he knew how much I loved him. And always will. And my current husband, he understands that and so patient with me with that. Because he knows I love him as well, unconditionally as well, in our way, because he's a different person and I'm a different person with him. You know what I mean? So I just had to say that because I was super judgy. I was really side eyeing, like, girl, bye. All right, moving on.
Sometimes when people pass early, there's signs of it earlier. This might be a little weird, but and then some that you never would expect.
No, I thought Hustle was Superman. He'll live forever. Really? I thought I was gonna go first.
Really?
I would always ask questions like, "What are you?"
I'm gonna say,
like, I was always so morbid.
That comment, when my husband turned 37, we were laying in bed. I'm pregnant with our 8th baby. And he was just kind of like staring at the, he's just laying up, looking at the ceiling. And he was like, man, I wonder if I'll live to be 40. This is 2018. This is July 17th, his birthday, 2018. I'm like, why would you say that? I never, ever, 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 ever wanted to think about losing my husband. Ever, 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 right? I didn't understand why he would say that. And he said, I don't know. I said, I just don't feel like I'm going to live to see 40. I was like, I rebuke that. You're not about to bring that spit energy over here. I don't know if he knew in some capacity. But 3 months later, when he found out on my birthday, my 35th birthday, that he had cancer in his lungs, and it was a tumor. I just didn't know what to think. But I never thought death. Never thought it. Even when he tried to tell me, he tried to be like, you know, I don't think I'm gonna make it. And I was like, you tripping. You know, you tripping. You, what? He was like, babe, I love you, but you hard-headed. This is gonna be it. I said, I didn't believe it. And when he passed 10 weeks later, I was in shock for that entire year and the next. Sometimes I still have my shock moments. But yeah, it's like he knew, but didn't understand how he knew until it was occurring. You know what I mean? So, yeah.
You would think that.
I thought I was gonna die early in my 20s because I don't know, I had these like crazy dreams growing up. I think you're giving out information and you're also making people comfortable with a topic that we
don't ever face until it's too late, or until it's
we're not prepared. We're not prepared.
And then there's a whole other thing about it that we're not prepared for, just in dealing with it. Like
it's the 3 years. It's the 3 years later for me that I feel really kicks in. The 5 years later, like
what is that?
Because you know, at first you're in shock.
I just gotta say, like I know, my heart of hearts. When my husband and I watched The Best Man Part 2, and it's this movie we watched before called P.S. I Love You. I know we spoke about this. I know we did. But can you believe, for the life of me, I can't even remember what the conversation was. And I feel so much in myself. I felt so much in my heart of hearts that we were going to be forever. We've had conversations about loss, if we lost one another. I just don't remember them. And I could be honest with you, I am still searching in my memories for it. I still am.
And then there's a lot of attention and love around you. And then people get back to their lives. And then now you're like, well, how do I get back to my life when it's shifted so much? And then what does life look like for me now? And then you're like rebirthing. Then someone dies and now you're in a rebirth. But you're in the rebirth. And that's weird.
And then people kind of start going away.
People, yeah, they live their lives.
Yeah.
And that's what I mean when I say, when your spouse or loved one dies, your past life dies with them. Because now, what does your life look like? What does it look like now? I gave myself 5 steps that first year. I'm gonna share it with y'all at another time. But what does it look like? I'm remarried. I moved back to the States. I was living overseas. I had a new baby. It's still all surreal to me. Sometimes I'm like, did that really happen? And the scary part is, like, I know that was my life. I see my children, right? But then I'm like, did that really happen? Was that a dream? Like a dream within a dream. It's crazy. You can't even really explain it. I'm not even gonna sit up here and really try to explain it, but that's the best way I could do it. It's like there's that inception where it's like a dream within a dream within a dream. Like when it happens, did that really happen? I'm tripping, because I know I was losing my mind for a little bit. I thought my husband was in the next room. I wait for him to come in the house. I'm waiting for him to come in the door. So it's like, did that really happen? Am I tripping? I'm tripping. That didn't happen. He coming home. Then it's like, no, that really did happen. And then it's like, you move forward in life, and then you like, was I married? Was I really married? Wait, and then you look at your babies, you're like, I'm tripping, because I got all my babies to show them. It's just so much, right? Not even just my babies. I have my memories. I have my pictures. But it's still, because, I did it, my husband in high school, met him in high school. My late husband and my current husband, met them in high school. So it's like your mind, you start questioning your life. Like your whole life. You start questioning am I still here? It's crazy. It's hard to really explain. I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm gonna go ahead and get back to this video.
Because do you feel like there's an army of people out here that want to protect you?
I do. Yeah, I
You
feel
do,
like
right?
people do.
Like if
love
you said
me.
who did it right now,
Oh,
I feel
I
like
know.
there would be an army of people that would show up for you.
That makes me feel good inside.
You do, right?
I
You
didn't
feel
always
that?
feel like that. Yeah.
I feel like you are definitely, people want to protect you and people want to like show you love. Even when I say I'm talking to Lauren, they're like, oh God, how's she doing?
See?
Everybody's like, oh, there's like a soft, like, I don't know, there's like a
Maybe
tender
because people
spot.
knew I was on my way out. I was feeling like, I don't know.
No, I did think about you a lot though during those times and prayed for you a lot in that times. But now that you're like, and then you get to a place where you want to do rebirth. How are you doing that? Are you doing that?
I have
You
to.
started working again.
Yeah, I just finished it. Yeah, I just did a whole movie.
You did another. Well, you did the movie.
Oh, yeah, I
with
did it too.
Michael B.
Oh, shit, yeah. Yeah,
Hello.
you're right. And that's so grief also messes up your memory.
Wasn't that the first time?
Yeah, that was
the first thing
yes.
you did.
But grief really strikes your memory different.
What does it do?
It just like you block out a lot of things. You know when you're pregnant and you're like, I have pregnancy brain?
Yes.
Grief brain is real.
Really? And still happening? Is it still happening all the time?
There's people would tell me about something that happened in 2016. I'm like,
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. I just said that. And oh my God, I'm telling you. Like, I'm still looking for those thoughts. Like, I know we because me and my husband, we talk. He talk, I talk, we talkers. And I know he was sitting up there watching that movie. And I remember when his wife got cancer. And I remember us having like, I see us having like this long conversation. And it's crazy because I know if he was here right now, he would like, see, you don't never listen. And it's like, not that I wasn't listening because I was listening. I literally have blocked those conversations. I really think my memory for it was it was so traumatic for me losing my husband. It was so surreal. I don't know, man.
I'm just proud that I'm not where I was 3 years ago.
Yeah.
What do you want to do still? Have you thought about that? Like, what is if we're talking about like our time is limited here, like what do you want to do with the rest of that?
I really want to like be peaceful, and I would like to like give peace to others. It's very simple. I don't think I don't have like these large accomplishments anymore.
Are you proud of yourself?
Yeah.
Why?
It's gonna sound crazy, but I'm taking like there was a time I couldn't even take a shower. There was a time I didn't even laugh, and I remember feeling so dark. Like, am I ever going to laugh? You know what I mean? Am I ever going to something really make me chuckle genuinely?
I love that.
And yeah, I have laughed.
That's why I started this channel. That's why I started Wydowhood with the why, but why is always the question, because we always ask these whys. I don't want to ask God why, because I feel like he gonna, you know how a parent, when you be like, why? You want to expect, don't be asking me why. But it's a genuine why. Like, man, you be like, why did this just happen? Like, it's something that's like, well, when was it supposed to happen? But it's like, and you want to say, well, why did it happen to me? And then it's like, well, who was supposed to happen to? And it's like, you know what? Don't even ask why. But that is the first question that why? Like, why? Why am I not able to deal with it properly? Why am I going insane? Why did this happen in the first place? Why? It's just all these whys. It's just, I don't know.
Whatever God has for me to do on earth in the realest way, I do not want to miss that mark. I just want to do that every day.
So do you know what that mark is, or you're still figuring it out all the time?
I'm still figuring it out. I do feel like having a good intention, speaking out, being kind to people, not overexerting myself, because then I'll be a fraud. I do think that a lot of my work now might not be in front of the camera. It might be behind the camera and encouraging someone else in front of the camera.
How are they doing through everything?
Theirs shows up in different ways. And I'm sure, kids they internalize everything until they get in their teens. So I'm sure, I'm trying my best to help them cultivate how to deal with their emotions as best as I can.
I have to go through therapy. I need to have my family go through therapy. I'm not going to speak on my children's behalf because how they feel is how they feel. But what I will say is, as an observer, what I've noticed with my children, especially with one of my daughters, is that she got really busy. Like me. Like, she kept herself really busy. And to this day, it's hard for her to even speak about daddy. It's hard. Just my other baby girl, she's really expressive, and sometimes she just wants to sit talk about daddy all the time and watch videos. All of them have their different ways of how they handle it, because they're different people and they have their own relationship with their father. All of our girls were definitely daddy's girls. They're mommy's girls too, but daddy spoiled his girls and his sons. So I don't even know why I even separate the two. He spoiled the babies, period.
Therapy, and I try to be an example. So they see me meditate. They come with me to my spiritual retreats.
They do?
Yeah, you know what I mean? Because
my kids would never.
Well, they're really young still. I'm sure Cam is over it. Or any type of church or anything that I do that feeds my soul, I share with them, because I feel like I don't know where they're gonna go with their life, but as long as they have the tools on, I remember my mom was angry or stressed. She did this. Let me try that. So I'm just, they're doing great. Much better now.
Thank God.
Yeah. And I just love on them so hard.
I could tell.
So hard.
They're so cute.
They're so cute. But they're really dope.
I'm learning from you, girl. I'm learning from Lauren right now. I went through a lot of different emotions. I got a big family. I wanted a big family. I love my big family. But kids are kids. And my kids are a little older. So mine range from we just had a newborn when my husband passed away. Our son turned 8 months. My oldest is 21. So that's a range. And all of my children are between their stair steps. So they argue a lot. And that was so frustrating for me. Sometimes I would just cry, why? I want a piece of mind. I'm going through this. Craziness. I went through a lot of different emotions. I'm just going to be for real. And I just got to say just one thing. We watched this movie where this little girl mom passes away from cancer. We didn't know the movie was going to be about that at all. We were like, oh my gosh, this little girl with this movie. We're going to watch this movie together as a family. Literally, when the movie went off, we were silent for 20 seconds or more. And then we literally all bust out crying. I think my son, he just walked off. He's 12 now, but at the time he was 10. I think he just walked off and went into the room. Me and my daughter sat there crying. My youngest baby, he didn't understand what was going on. He was one. He's just
they're really. I'm like, you guys are my favorite human beings on planet Earth.
I love that.
Yes, I can say that. I can say that. As much as I just went on this whole tangent about my children, I hang out with my babies all the time. They are my favorite human beings on earth, period. My circle is literally I always say my 9 children, because even though my son passed away, I still count him as part of the family. He was the 6th baby. He would have been 7, turning 8 this year. But I surround myself with my children. I have my husband, my new husband, who is now part of the family. He's a best friend. My late husband, who I also feel is wrapped around us. My best friend, she's another sister to me. I have a couple of sisters, but my younger sister, her and I are I talk to her every day, all day. my nephew in Christ. He's out here. So that's literally my circle. That's it. Like, I don't let many people penetrate that circle. I prefer to hang out with my babies. I just do.
And what do you tell them about that? Do you talk to them? 'Cause I
Yeah,
feel like
so
you don't ever talk to kids about
well,
that.
I had to. I was the one who had to break the news to them. So
no.
yeah. So, but no one could have done that for me. I had to do that.
Of course.
Um,
Nobody prepares you for that. In life.
no.
Nobody prepares you for that. I did it with my children and in front of our whole church. Actually, the church community members had came with me to the house and wanted to be there. When I told my children, I actually, one of a scripture that I hold near and dear to me, because it's what my husband read to me when we lost our son. Like, when he literally scooped me up when I was about to scream because I felt like I was in a nightmare, was 1 Thessalonians chapter 13, I believe, 13 or 14, or chapter 14, 13 through 18, I believe that's it. And I went over that scripture with my babies, and I let them know that their daddy was not coming home. Our daughter, she was 2 at the time, but before she turned 3, she didn't really understand that she was daddy's girl, little princess. She's my little prissy princess. Sometimes she still asks me when daddy's coming home. I think she's 6 now.
Even though, in my previous years, I went to a seminar about death.
Okay, you have to tell me. You're
Oh
just
my
telling
God.
me this now.
I know,
Like,
yeah.
Please share. Why?
I have a friend.
Why were you there? And what did you learn?
I learned that no one really dies, and that, it's just an experience in the physical form, and we're attached to our personalities, but that we're just souls, and that we continue and continue and continue. And if you have a spiritual relationship with someone on earth, you will have one with them when you leave earth. So I did this 2-day seminar on death. So,
And this was how long ago?
I had to be 25.
What sent you there? Do you find that weird though?
I'm weird.
No, it's not weird that you would go. It's almost like you were preparing yourself for what you would have to deal with.
Well, I told you I didn't have such a connection to earth at a young age.
I know, but you don't find that as you were preparing yourself for what you were going to have to deal with.
But that we're all going to have to deal with.
That's true. Point. All right, very good. That's a solid point, Lauren.
You know what I mean?
Solid
it's
point.
not just me. We all
You're
have
right.
to go through it.
This is the point of this conversation.
Right?
Yes. Sorry. I forgot. Even I forget sometimes. This is going to happen to every single human.
It is.
But why were you so aware of that, and what even sent you there? You just
I am a little bit of a fanatic about truth. So if it's something,
Got it.
I love truth. So I think I'm telling you, I did a lot of spiritual work as a young girl because I had a pretty traumatic childhood that I needed to get some peace. Now this is my second trauma, and this is my second quest for a deeper spiritual understanding. So now I was reading all the books, but now I'm applying all the books. So yeah, I did this seminar. I went to this conference with a friend of mine who actually is a intuitive. And it gave me a better concept of it. It didn't totally prepare me, because I don't think anything could really prepare you for that. But it gave me language to talk to my kids about.
That's amazing.
So I say the words transitioned, and I always say that Daddy is everywhere, and he feels us, we feel him. And anytime there's something you want to say, you might not hear him, but you'll feel it and follow that guidance and write letters and talk to him.
I can say I haven't gone through all of that as far as that, but my husband and I had, living overseas, we were doing a lot of biblical studies, and so there is certain language that I use. It's biblical language. Daddy sleep. He's in a deep sleep. It's a different sleep. It's a deep sleep that only his spirit can wake from, and not the physical form. My husband did come to me in a dream, and it's so weird because people will be like, well, did you think you wanted that? Or listen, when my husband was in the coma, I was searching for him in my dreams because I am very, like she mentioned, an intuitive person when it comes to the spiritual realm. And I remember searching for him. I mean, even when I was in the hospital, walking around the hospital when he was in a coma, I heard him saying, Celeste, let me go. Let me go. I'm holding on for you. Like, I love you. I love my babies. But please let me go. And literally when I agreed, like in my spirit, when I agreed and said, all right, you know, if you're not going to wake up and you want to go on, okay. Not realizing like I really agreed. And a few hours later, when the doctor told me that he was gone, I felt like my life left. I felt like my spirit left me. My legs just buckled. And I just screamed. You know it, that First Thessalonians, those that die in Christ will rise again in him. And so that is the language that I use with my children, you know, because honestly, he did transition. We will transition. Yeah. Back to my thought, because I bought my children daddy journals to write letters to him. I did buy my children, like my daughter, you know, she really, really wanted one to write letters to him. My current husband, you know, said when we go back to visit his grave, he would love for them to write letters to their dads and put on his grave. When I was at home, like I said, I was searching for him in my dreams. He came home. Like, this is after the funeral. I had this dream. He came home, but he would look like himself, like he was strong and full and not frail like he was when he passed. And he had his long locks again. And I was like, oh my gosh. And I was talking to him. I said, baby, just buried you. This is crazy that you're here. Because it was just him and I at the house, and the children weren't there. And he was like, I know. I'm like, we just had your funeral. He was like, I know. And I was like telling him everything about the children. And then he was like talking to me. He was like, babe, I couldn't live in that body anymore. He said, look at it. Like, I could barely breathe. I couldn't live in that body anymore. And he let me know that he loved us and he'll always be here. I mean, and I felt it. Like, when I had this dream, I felt his covering, like, you know, and it wasn't something I imagined. It wasn't something that I'm like, oh, this is something that my brain, you know, is a figment of my imagination. No, I really had a conversation with him. And that is what put me at peace with moving forward in life. It was still difficult, but that put me at so much peace. I started working out again. I started getting my stuff on the schedule. I started working on my stuff. I started journaling. I started doing all these things after I had that dream. And so I just really, I understand where she's coming from with that.
Do you feel like empathetic to other people who kind of go through things now in a different way? I consider myself to be like a super empath.
I know I'm an empath. I know I'm an empath. But what I've learned from life experience, I know how to, I don't want to control it, but I do know how to shift. So we're not all going down.
Legacy. Do you ever think about yours?
Yes.
What is it? What do you...
I would love to leave generational wealth for my grandkids. And I would like to leave have a sweet place in everyone's heart that I met.
And that's so simple. I want to be impactful to the people that I meet in the most positive, genuine way. In generational wealth. I started this channel for widows, and I'm showing my life on social media to show we still move forward, and we have to, especially when you have children. Children don't let you be down and out. Oh my gosh, and I told y'all I got a range. So that's so genuine. That's simple. Generational wealth for our families, and to be impactful to those that we meet I feel like if I'm not impacting someone, I don't care if it's on this channel. I don't care. I'm a school teacher. If it's at school, my students, my children, a stranger, and then I'm not doing my job. I'm not being me. Me even doing this channel is just me being all unapologetically me. And do I have moments where I'm like, oh, I could hold back a little? Yeah, I think about that. I think we all have those moments. But because I want to be as impactful as possible in the most sincere and genuine way, I can't say it enough.
What's on your bucket list? Do you have something, one thing you want to do?
Live in an ashram for like a year and devote like a very monk style life for a year or 2.
1 year. Mm-hmm. And what is that? What would that entail?
Just like devote to God
I don't know why
all day.
My voice went down here when I asked you that.
Because I'm deeper than the earth. No, I would just like to like spend time only devoting to God in nature. I want to like get that deep within myself.
For a year?
Yes.
So
okay. Yes. What? And then like, all this like natural food, and then like go to the waterfall and shower in the waterfall, and just.
I could do that for 2 weeks strong.
Really?
Yes.
But imagine what a year does to you.
I feel it on that. I feel it. That's why I stay looking at certain countries I want to move to. I talked to my husband about it. He's down. I'm so glad that he's so down with moving to another country with the children and all of us, because I am very much so. Like, I just want to be present. And when you're present in your spirit, you're present with the Father, I can determine who I'm speaking to. I know when Satan's trying to get at me. I know when he's trying to get at me. And I know when the Father is comforting me, when the Holy Spirit speaks to me, when she whispers. So I feel her on that. And I'm there with her on that.
You'll probably never come back the same.
Is that what you want?
Never.
Because, like, would you want to not come back the same?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I feel like it might be the jolt I need one day. I'm telling you, I just am like a big student on truth. Like, I want to know, especially after this happened, I'm just like, okay, God, I want to know a lot of your mysteries.
I mean, that's a beautiful thing, no?
My relationship with God. And I remember hearing people used to say, you don't really have a relationship till you question God. Mm-hmm. And I had a lot of questions afterwards. Real ones.
You want to share any?
I just was like, I prayed really hard when I heard he had got shot, and so then I felt like, my prayer didn't work, so prayer didn't work. So then I was like, what's really going on? Why? How? I feel like God dropped the ball on me. That's how I felt. I took it real personal, and then I started to feel like, why not you? Why not you, girl? Who are you?
And I just circle back around. Why not? Why not you? Why not now? I tried my hardest not to take it personal. I did, because I know better. Because I did spend 10 years of my life with my husband overseas studying the Bible. And yeah, we got to get together with the church members and we go and we study, but at the same time we'd be at home in our own studies and having our own conversations and our own connection. We have our questions. I tried not to take it personally. I did not want to take it personally because I knew better.
Yeah, because did you let them see you dark? Like when you were in did they?
Yeah.
Well, they had no choice, right?
Yeah.
You weren't going to abandon them.
It was real.
They saw it.
And I was very honest with them. This is life. Mm-hmm. I'm not going to pretend this don't exist. This is sadness.
I remember crying with my children. I cry with my children. I still do. I cry with my children. If I'm going to laugh with them and have a good time with them, I'm also going to cry with them. That's real life. I remember someone told me, don't cry in front of the children. They don't need to see you cry. Don't do this in front of the children. They need to see you just... I'm like, yo, it's strength and weakness. I'm sad. I'm not about to be like, come in. We can't hide things from our children. We can't teach them the good and not let them see the bad or the sad. It doesn't make any sense, y'all. I don't believe in that. I'm definitely a realist. I'm gonna be as nice as I possibly can to package it up when I'm real with you. But I'm gonna be real with you. I'm gonna let you know what it is. I used to be even more harsh, but I grew. That's my spiritual journey.
Some people might,
I mean, it's just, I think it's just a choice in parenting.
Yeah.
I'm very transparent with my kids because, I don't want them to have a false reality of life.
Uh-huh.
You know what I mean? I want them to be like strapped up and ready to go.
Where are you? If you don't want to answer this or you don't like the question, we throw it away.
What?
But where are you with love?
Oh, I this doesn't bother me because here's the thing. I have another perspective on relationships, and you don't want to have that conversation with me.
Okay.
I think a lot of them are ego-driven, and they're not pure.
I believe that too.
So why would I take myself in this vulnerable state into my ego and I'm trying to get out of it? I'm in death of the ego space. Why do I need why? Does that make my life complete? I'll never get married. Does that mean I'm not on purpose?
I need you to explain.
I'm going to get a lot of slack for this one because I have a whole thing about it.
No, I need to know.
Okay.
I mean, that's not a small thing to drop.
Okay.
Because relationships are hard as fuck.
Absolutely.
Right? And so.
Mine was.
It was?
Very hard. Hell yeah.
Because we make it like a fantasy in our heads. Like,
No.
you guys had the perfect relationship. You were on the horse.
Listen,
we saw you on the horse.
We had
It was
pure
a
love. We had pure love, but that does not mean that we were not human and our egos did not get attached in aspects of our relationship. But we definitely had pure love.
But you had enough intention to probably like dissect
Always.
or break down.
Always.
Okay.
Good intentions.
But break that down for people.
Yes.
About relationships and ego, and because some people probably don't even think about that.
No, and I didn't think about it until I wasn't in relationship anymore because of the death, right? A lot of times, not all the time, we are in such of in our ego that we are in possession of another person. We're not experiencing them. We're not totally loving them and letting them be free. We think we're supposed to be together forever. And that's not a spiritual relationship. Spiritual relationship is without the ego. It is we are together. I bring you up, inspire you, you inspire me. Now, if there ever comes a point where I'm not inspired anymore and that now I'm in my ego, now I feel I need to possess you, now I feel the need to control you and you're mine, I'm in my ego. And that's not love. There's love in there, but now I'm operating more in my ego and not in my pure love. And I can say this because I operated from these spaces before.
I was going to ask you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
you mine.
Yeah.
And can't nobody, you know what I mean? But that, nobody is yours unless the agreement is that we're going to experience Earth a little bit longer than some. Right? I just don't feel the need to participate in my ego and someone else in theirs anymore. And I've experienced pure love. I am not without pure love. I might not ever be married, but I experience pure love. And that's with
You
Nip.
experience it now.
With Nip.
Oh.
I got that. I got to see that on Earth.
Woo.
I don't need to do that again.
I understand her on that. And that's honestly how I felt, period. I know we all different. We have our different experiences in life. So I know I've experienced my pure love with my husband. And I'm experiencing that with my current husband, no relationship is perfect. And you do have to take the ego out of it. I learned that with my first husband, with my late husband. It wasn't easy at first. But I get what she means. I would have never knew I was going to get remarried and have a relationship again, or even I didn't know I could even love again. You love somebody that much, you be like, I ain't going to never be able to love again. But it's like, you know what, it's like when you have a child And you're like, oh my gosh, how was I living without you? I'll never feel this way again. Oh my gosh, right? That's how you feel. And then you have another one and you're like, oh my gosh, I can't feel this way again. Because I love you just as much, oh my gosh, unconditionally. Like, you know what I mean? And so I didn't think about that in the sense of marriage. I didn't think about that in the sense of a relationship. I was just like, that was it. And my relationship now is new. And it's different. But I am still loved. Unconditionally, I feel it and appreciate it. And we lift each other up. And we push each other to be our best. We push each other past our potential. And I never would have thought that I would experience that ever again.
I like to feel enlightenment with God. Now, like I said, I don't know when I'm 50, 60, 70. Mm-hmm. But 37,
I'm good.
I'm good.
Mm-hmm.
I'm good. I don't want it. I don't want it.
So how did you get that with Nip? How did you put ego aside?
I didn't get to do it when Nip was here.
I get her. What I did learn, and what I can say from my experience of losing that with my husband, like losing the physical aspect of him, right? From not being here because he's always here spiritually. I took what I learned into this relationship. I feel as though my husband now he gets the best of me immediately. Not that my late husband didn't, but we got married so young and we were in our, like she said, possession. And we were very much engulfed in one another because my husband was the kind of man that he only had eyes for me. And I was the kind of woman that only had eyes for him. And so we was very much like engulfed in one another. I think what's most important is to enjoy one another. Enjoy living, enjoy growing, enjoy being.
For real. I can right hand to God. I loved him with every inch of his soul. And I believe he did the same. I just, I think moving forward on earth for me is about God, me and my kids, making them stable. What am I supposed to do here? You know what I mean? How deep am I to go here? I just want to do that.
I think that's fascinating for people to look at and think about in their own relationship, because we all do that, right?
It's natural.
You probably even do it to some extent. I don't know if you do because you had this experience and enlightened, but we probably even do that with our kids. For sure. I'm like, wait, where are you going? You know what I mean? Right.
You're gonna go to yeah, of course, but and I think that it's harder to not be like that with your kids because you start off as a micromanager and then that changes to just then
Trust me, I know mine's in college.
See?
I'm like a consultant now.
Yeah, you're a consultant. Oh Lord, see, I ain't reached that point yet.
It's tough.
See, and now and then you trying to throw me in relationship. I ain't have time for that. I gotta deal with these damn kids. I'm already stressed out. I'm like, no, don't go to
I love that notion though, because most people operate from two emotions, and it's either love or fear. So all the other things that happen, it's usually can fall under one of those.
It's disguising as.
So when you talk about ego and all, that's all a lot fear. Of that is fear, right?
All fear.
So I love my man so much, I don't want anything to happen to him. I don't want him. So I'm gonna keep him right here. It's because it's fear.
Total fear.
Yeah. Or am I good enough? Or am I? In
the competition aspect of it all. I'm out that game. I'm so happy I'm out that game.
I don't want to say that I'm operating from fear in any sense, because I don't believe I am. I know I'm not. I'm operating in faith. But I am operating in full awareness. Full awareness. Because when it comes to this life, all bets are off. Anything can happen at any moment to anyone. Anybody can get it.
I think, I do believe in love, and I think love is beautiful. And like I said, I experience pure love on earth.
That's not a fun game.
Done. Done. God bless it, though.
Well, I'm
See, I just need to be like a nun somewhere.
Yeah, I'm not really. I mean, I respect you, and I understand your decision. I really do, and I think you're in a beautiful place, and I want you to stay in a beautiful place and stay healthy and safe. But I don't know. As somebody who really genuinely just likes you and connects with you, I think at least you should just be open to whatever God puts in your path at some point. But that has nothing to do with you. That's mine.
That's just that.
That's just me. That has nothing to do with you.
I think people feel. I think people, and it makes people afraid to hear me say that because then they have to, not saying you, but like then it's like, can people really exist by themselves?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It kind of like
and have the full It
disrupts fantasy. It disrupts this notion that we have to be in these like strong relationship
units.
Yeah.
I mean, I love my units. Besides being married, I dated when I was younger, in my early 20s before getting married. I love myself. I love kicking it with myself. I know me. And see, I've never felt the need to be in a relationship. God had other plans. See, his plans are not our plans. Our plans are not his plans. So we need to make sure we just align our plans with his. Because he gonna steer that bad boy. He gonna steer it. We don't know which way we gonna go. So,
yeah. And here's the truth. If my situation didn't end via death, I'd still be in it deep. You know what I mean? Not even having this notion of this. Yeah. And maybe if I did, it would have came in another lesson. It just came in this one.
Well, you have many lessons to teach us all.
On my TED Talk.
Well, what's your TED Talk be on?
Death.
Really?
It would be on death, and it would be on what happens when your earth blows up. What happens after that? How do you? What do the ashes look like? How do you pick up from an ash? It's like Phoenix rising.
That should be the name of your TED Talk. Phoenix Rising.
Yeah.
Lauren Rising.
Lauren Rising.
Lauren Rising.
I'm telling you. Yeah, I'm into that. And I'm trying to get Anita Baker tickets. So, like, those things I'm looking forward to.
I'm sure we can work that out.
Like her at the Venetian, I need that. I need to see, you know what I mean? A couple of things. That's on my bucket list. Anita Baker.
Anita Baker.
At the Venetian, yeah.
I just gotta say this. And I'm gonna say it without tearing up. Anita Baker is the soundtrack to me and my late husband's marriage, period. Anita Baker was the soundtrack to his childhood from his mom and my current husband. But Anita Baker, hands down. I sang Caught Up in the Rapture with my older sister at our younger sister's birthday party just like last month. And when I started, when we met, I always knew I could feel the magic for you. I'm on fire, oh my. Like, the whole time I was thinking, like, oh my gosh, because my husband, when we would slow dance, and he would he just had this intense way. He would stare me into my eyes. Like, I thought he was staring down to the depths of my soul, right? Like, the parts of my soul that I didn't even know existed. Like, that's how deep down inside of me he was staring. But he would stare at me, and we'd be slow dancing. I love you in my dream, baby. You make my fly free. Man, I want to go. Oh my God, where you at, Nita? Where you at, girl? We want to hunt you down because me and my husband want to go. We want to go. I got to see you, girl. You are it. My sister said, oh, she's the one.
I'm like a Rochelle Farrell, Anita Baker. Give me some Will Downing. I'm happy.
You're a happy girl. We all want you to be a happy girl.
Just give me some Anita Baker tickets. Where's Hank at?
I hope y'all enjoyed the video. I know I said a mouthful. It was long. It was needed. I'm so happy to see that she's just in the space that she's in. I understand My husband passed away on our son's 9th birthday in January 2019, and then a few months later, I believe, Nipsey. That happened to Nipsey. And I remember feeling for her. And I remember when I also needed to change my whole scene. I couldn't stay where I was at anymore. I just couldn't be there. It was depressing the hell out of me. And we moved back to the States because I asked God where I should move, and he told me where to go. And he gave me the resources to make it happen, and I did what he said. Lauren London or Vanessa Bryan or Celine Dion or anyone else who's gone through this has gone through it in the public eye. You know, as regular folk, you know, we get it, what they're going through. Because whether you're in the public eye or not in the eyes, wherever you are, grief is grief. It doesn't go away. It doesn't leave me. It doesn't leave us. You know, I'm so glad my husband, my current husband, he's so patient. As far as like, he loves who I am. He knows I have my moments where I just be like, man. And sometimes because we grew up with each other, you know, we'll sit and we can laugh about my late husband, you know, his best friend's brother, his best friend / brother. You know, my brother-in-law, my husband's brother was just over here not too long ago when we were all in the kitchen just laughing and chopping it up, talking about him, and he lives on. He lives on. So this was an amazing interview. If you want to see me do any more reactions to any movies or interviews, just share my perspective, which is what I want to do. Just to be able to genuinely help anybody out there. Because we all have our different experiences and different ways we see and view things. Let me know. Leave it in the comments below. And I'm going to go ahead and get back to mothering. I'm going to get back to mothering. I got some kids I got to feed. All right. Peace.